I just did a deep dive into every single trade of the 2024 offseason. And here they are, graded on a 5-star system from worst to the best trade of the year. To me, a 1-star trade is when a team goes out and trades for a player that wasn't really a position of need, overpaid way too much for that player doesn't seem to be a scheme or culture fit, and trades that almost have a guaranteed chance of failure. Example of a 1-star trade that's went down in the past, when the Cleveland Browns went out there and traded for Deshaun Watson. Browns had a quarterback that had just taken them to the playoffs, who is still to this day playing at a similar level to Deshaun Watson, and the culture of Cleveland is about hard work, grit, and determination. But when Deshaun Watson's a little banged up, he's up in the skybox watching the games on Sundays. Of course, you all know that the Browns overpaid severely for Watson because the Atlanta Falcons had pretty much landed the deal already. And did Deshaun Watson really increase the Cleveland Browns win total too much? Because Joe Flacco took over this team and took him into the playoffs. Watson trade just has no path to success. Because when you give up that much for a quarterback and you guarantee him that much money, and we're going to talk about them bringing in all these weapons as well for him, Super Bowl or bust. And in the AFC, that seems impossible for the Browns at this very moment. That's a 1-star trade, but a 5-star trade fills the position of need with a Pro Bowl or All-Star level player. I would say elite player, but elite players don't get traded that often. The team has to fleece in the trade price, and the player has to be a perfect scheme and culture fit. In order for a trade to receive 5 stars, I have to believe that this trade solely will impact the win total in a positive way, of course. It has to be a bust-proof deal. For example, previous 5-star trades that have went down. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers acquired Rob Gronkowski from the New England Patriots for a 4th-round pick a few years ago. Or when the Patriots got Randy Moss from the Raiders after that failure, they turned Randy Moss right back around. Or how about just a few years ago when A.J. Brown was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles for basically Treylon Burks straight up. 5-star trade. Again, starting with the worst and finishing off with the best trade of this year's offseason. Jerry Jeudy was traded from the Denver Broncos to the Cleveland Browns for a 5th and 6th round pick. And the Browns didn't overpay when it comes to the draft capital side of this, but they immediately granted Jeudy a $50 million contract. Judy's not even going to be this team's wide receiver 1. He hasn't even been a culture fit in Denver, where he's been the last couple of years. Constantly throwing fits, constantly upset on the sideline. The Browns went and got Elijah Moore last year. Used a draft pick on David Bell. Extended David Njoku to a nice deal. Was this really a need for Cleveland and a need to pay him $50 million once again? He has to be a wide receiver 1 to make that contract fulfilled, and there's no path to him being the wide receiver 1 next year. I'm giving the Browns 1.5 stars on this one. Speaking of wide receivers, now former Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver Dionte Johnson was traded to the Carolina Panthers for Dionte Jackson. We're only talking about significant trades that went down today, so I'm going to talk about the Dionte Johnson side of this. This is a great move by Carolina. You get a very QB-friendly wide receiver for Bryce Young's development. Dionte Johnson is always getting wide the hell open. And while I think the Panthers should still be looking at the draft or maybe looking at a T. Higgins trade when it comes to their wide receiver 1 position, Dionte can definitely fill in if they don't find someone immediately. But I have one gripe with this trade. Why do the Panthers feel the need to trade young talent every season? Dionte Jackson hasn't lived up to what we thought he was going to be at the beginning of his career, and he has an expiring contract, but why wouldn't you want to bring this guy back for his contract year? The Panthers should have nutted up and spent the draft capital on Keenan Allen or Stefon Diggs. Keep your cornerback on the team. They did this last year in the Bryce Young trade. They just threw in DJ Moore. I was like, what the hell? Don't you need DJ Moore to help Bryce Young develop? So that fact is going to keep this trade at 3 stars out of 5. Moving on to Justin Fields, who was traded from the Chicago Bears to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 6th-round pick. It doesn't seem real. That's why I had to double check. The pick does become a 4th-round pick if Justin Fields hits certain playing time requirements. Maybe a little bit more incentive for the Steelers to keep Russell Wilson in a little longer. But the Steelers just turned a former 9th overall pick into a 5th-round pick. Me personally, I think Justin Fields is a great culture fit. I was talking to a Pittsburgh Steelers fan at Walmart. He was telling me how excited he is to see Justin Fields grow behind Russell Wilson and eventually in the lineup. I don't think Mike Tomlin's going to ask Justin Fields to be an elite passer. He's going to turn him into like a Cam Newton style player, and that's what Fields should be doing at this point. I know it's going to shorten the career, but let's have a career first. One thing that hurts the rating on this trade is it doesn't give Pittsburgh a new starter. And of course, for this to work out, Fields has to grow a lot as a quarterback. So I'm going to go with 3.5 stars. The Jets got their right tackle back. Morgan Moses is going back to the Big Apple. Aaron Rodgers has got to be excited. They desperately needed a tackle. And Moses was already a scheme fit in 2021 when he was on the team. This guy's not a Pro Bowl or All-Star caliber player, but a trustworthy starter. And I feel like they paid the right price here. Another like 3.5 star trade. It's actually a little bit better than 3.5. We're going to go with 3.75 star. Lions fans are probably stoked to get Carlton Davis. They only had to give up a 3rd and a 6th round pick. He's an amazing culture fit. He has championship winning experience. A stick it and forget it kind of cornerback. Not an immediate fix for this team's need at cornerback. I think they'll still be looking at the draft at this position. But I think Davis is going to help out on defensive productivity and help out with training whatever rookies they do bring into the secondary. The one thing that hurts this trade is that they spent a 3rd and a 6th round pick to get Carlton Davis. Probably don't have to pay him the same contract as Ljarious Sneed, but why wouldn't you go and get Ljarious Sneed? He went for a 3rd round pick and a 7th. So that hurts this trade just a little bit. I'm going to go with 3.5 stars also. Speaking of Ljarious Sneed, like I said, he was acquired by the Tennessee Titans from the Kansas City Chiefs for a 3rd and 7th round pick. The Titans desperately needed a cornerback after the Caleb Farley bust from a few years ago. They just haven't been able to land at that position or find any consistency at least. And unlike Carlton Davis, Sneed is a no-shit man-to-man, just forget him. Leave him over there on the best wide receiver. He's locked down. He's been locked down the last 2 seasons. He's an all-pro caliber player, definitely worth the contract, and definitely worth the 3rd and the 7th. We just saw Carlton Davis, like I said earlier. My only complaint is that this is a move that would signal that the Tennessee Titans are all in. But the Tennessee Titans haven't really identified their franchise quarterback yet. They know something about Will Levis that I don't, because the Tennessee Titans just blew all their fucking money. This is still a 4-star trade for sure. The Houston Texans just got Joe Mixon for damn near free. This is what I'm talking about with the running back market, man. I don't know why more teams don't go and say, hey, I'll give you a 6th or 7th round pick for a superstar running back. Joe Mixon's not a superstar. He's been one of the highest producing all-purpose yardage backs in the league over the last couple of years. He's 27. He has plenty of gas left in the tank, especially when he's joining a 1-2 punch with Dameon Pierce. A huge upgrade for the Texans when it comes to receiving out of the backfield. And some of their other moves, which we're going to talk about here in a second, would trend towards air raiding the football. And some of the other moves, which we're going to talk about here, would trend the Texans towards air raiding the football next year. You also bring in a former Pro Bowler with playoff experience, a run to the Super Bowl under his belt. If this was at a different position, I would give it 5 stars. It's 4.5 stars for sure. Brian Burns was kind of quietly acquired by the New York Giants this offseason. Burns is a top flight edge rusher in the league right now. Definitely worth the draft capital. And the value that he brings to New York is higher than he brings to other teams because they have a guy that I think is going to turn into a superstar on the other side. Kayvon Thibodeau has been quietly improving every single season. And getting an experienced, damn near elite edge rusher in here to work with, that's perfect for 5. Because of all the Azeez Ojulari injuries and the Leonard Williams trade at the deadline, they need a D-line really bad. Especially knowing you're going to have to play Philly and Saquon Barkley this year twice. You know the Cowboys are going to be drafting Trey Benson or some ridiculous running back. 4.75 stars, just under 5. Okay, there were 2 trades that I think were 5-star deals this offseason. First, let me just remind you real quick to like the video so that the algorithm knows to send this video to more fans like you and me. And also, are you an NFL fan? Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You're going to forget if you don't click the button right now. I post daily NFL content here for everyone to enjoy. It's completely free. You just have to click a few buttons. Okay, first 5-star trade of this offseason was Stefon Diggs going to the Texans. There's more to the deal, but the premise is that he's going to be traded for a 2nd round pick. But the key that makes this a 5-star trade, it's a 2025 2nd round pick, not 2024. So the Bills aren't even getting a pick where they can immediately replace Stefon Diggs in this loaded wide receiver class. Texans hold on to their 2nd round pick this year. I personally think Stefon Diggs is a culture fit in Houston. A lot of people confuse passionate players that want to win more than anything else with being locker room cancers. We've seen it with guys like OBJ in the past, Stefon Diggs. And I agree that sometimes these temper tantrums on the sideline can get out of hand. They can get a little bit distracting for the team. But just try and understand where the root is coming from. Stefon Diggs doesn't flip out in games where they're winning because he's not getting the ball. He flips out in games when he's wide open and Josh Allen decides to do a backflip and then fumble backwards, go recover his fumble, jump over a guy, spin move, get cracked, fumble again. That's when you start to see Stefon Diggs frustrated on sidelines. Texans crushed this, man. Like I said, 5 stars. In my opinion, the best trade of this offseason. The team absolutely fleeced the Chicago Bears acquiring Keenan Allen for a 4th round pick. I'll tell you, I didn't think Keenan Allen was going to get traded this offseason. I thought that would be the one player that would survive the cap hell. What I had in mind also is that was the one player with the most trade value. I assume Keenan Allen was worth a 2nd round pick like Diggs, or at least a 3rd. He had a better year than Diggs last year, and he didn't look like he was slowing down at all. So the Chicago Bears getting him for a 4th round pick is an absolute steal, Bears fans. And he's going to help out your rookie quarterback so much with the most important and hardest thing for rookie quarterbacks when they transfer to the NFL. Timing. He's done so much for Herbert in his career already. I think this 100% increases Chicago's win total by as much as 2 wins. Chargers had to do it, huh? Pains me to say it, this is the best trade of the offseason. 5 stars. Keenan Allen's giving me the you can't see me now. One last reminder to like the video, subscribe to the channel before you forget. And if you guys want bonus content, follow me on all platforms. Will I be right or wrong about all of these trades? I guess sooner rather than later, all won't lie. Thank you for tuning in to another NFL Mike Bang. Let's keep this train rolling. Check out one of my next videos. Head to the NFL Mike channel, binge watch some shorts, or just go and do whatever you want to do next. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe and like the video.